Good evening, guys. Allow me a few seconds to set up the screen. Good evening. Welcome to the program on import export documentation. Now, most of you are aware that logistic is trying to play a major role in the supply chain. Earlier, the role was minimum, but now the retailers and e-commerce platform, they are becoming more powerful. So the power is getting shifted from manufacturing to retail. On the other hand, you can call them as a e-commerce platform is taking most of the power, and there they dominate or provide the service based on the logistic performance. So this is where logistic is gaining importance day by day. But today we are going to see something on import export, specifically with respect to documentation. Here we are not going to focus on the procedure, process, all that. Possibly if you are in the logistic department or working in any service provider like CFI, you may be aware of the documentation required in the sector. But irrespective of the function in supply chain, now it is more or less essential that you should be aware what are the documents required, what are the efforts made by logistic team to move the consignment, especially in the import export segment. So, before I dig into the topic, let me introduce myself. Hope all of you are able to see the screen and hear my voice. Can you please comment in the LinkedIn if you are able to hear me? So this is my LinkedIn profile. My name is Pattabhi Raman. You are always welcome to connect or follow my LinkedIn profile. Coming to my background, I am an engineer with a PG degree in management and data science. I have nearly 2.5 decades working experience in this type of organization. I have been handling various subdomains in the supply chain, including logistic, import, export, throughout my career. But it has become very much important when I moved higher in the level, especially when I was heading the supply chain. My involvement with the logistic has become more because the now the expectation of the customer are increasing in terms of timely delivery of goods. So I used to meet various people in customs or DGFT, so many government department to make your work happen, especially in the import export segment. Last 4 years, I have been heading the current organization known as Thoughtword Training Private Limited. As far as certification is concerned, maybe if you are in logistics subdomain, you could be knowing about CLTD. This is certification in logistic, transportation, and distribution. Especially if you are looking for a job in corporate logistic, this becomes essential where the job market is very tight and competition is very high. I also hold certifications from Demand Driven Institute. I am also a certified purchasing manager and a project management professional, along with business analytics qualified. Coming to our organization, we are based in Bangalore, 4-year-old organization. We provide both consulting and training in the field of supply chain and allied domain. We operate under the name of Exxpert SEM. Coming to the documentation, whether it's export or import, government tries to promote export because that is where you are going to earn foreign exchange, and also it improves the international trade. In fact, over the last 30 years there were a lot of dramatic improvements in terms of the way documents are processed or number of documents required, and also usage of online processing has become very much simplified. In fact, nowadays it is much easier to do export and import. Duties are slashed, okay, and things have become much easier. You need to know there are various kinds of documentation involved. Possibly one is commercial documents. This is to effect physical transfer of goods from one place to other location. Maybe you can call exporter to import place. Another one is changing the title of goods, ownership of the goods from the exporter to importer, and realization of export proceeds from the exporter to importer. So the commercial documents will take care of these things. So the content is also framed in such a way that you include all these required details. And coming to the principal export document, what is the number one document which you will not miss, either it's import or domestic? Can anyone type in the comment, LinkedIn comment, what is the number one document in any sales, whether it's a domestic or export or import? What is the number one document? Possibly the content may be different here, but what is the name of the document? Can you type in the LinkedIn comments? Shekhar Rao talks about bill of lading. Yes, of course, that's also one of the document, but it's not the number one. Maybe it comes number two, number three. Yes, invoice, Bovik Dongi. Yes, you're right. Commercial invoice is required all the times, irrespective of the mode, whether it's local or imported. This is a number one document. Then comes the packing list, then certification of inspection or quality control. Maybe this is optional, where the importer wants this document, you can provide it. Then comes the bill of lading or combined transportation documentation. When we talk about combined transportation, it may be due to multimodal transport. Nowadays, you can get a single acknowledgement, even if the goods is moving through multiple modes. It could be road, rail, air, combined with the sea transport. Then there is a shipping advice even before you make the bill of lading. This is required for the shippers. Certificate of origin, insurance certificate and policy, and bill of exchange. How do you make the payment from the importer to exporter? These are 8 primary documents. Of course, few are not mandatory, like inspection certificate. Okay, otherwise all are seems to be important documents. Coming to auxiliary export documents, you need performa invoice. It is just like a quotation. Even before you finalize the order with the importing authorities, possibly you are trying to give some draft, a quote along with the part number, quantity, all that, so that your client can process the order. Maybe possibly he can use it for taking approval or import license from his own country. And intimation for inspection, if wherever inspection is required. Shipping instructions, insurance declaration, shipping orders, Mate's receipt, we will see what exactly does it mean when we say mate receipt. Application for certificate of origin and letter to the bank for collection or negotiation of documents. Maybe these auxiliary documents are required to prepare the final documents which has to accompany the consignment. Coming to the regulatory documents, there are certain things required even before you ship the items. Possibly some form of licensing is required. All the items are not cannot be exported. Maybe some items are restricted, so possibly you need some approvals. Also, it is required if you need some export inspection or foreign exchange regulation, export trade control or customs. So all this requires some preparation, especially if you are doing export for the first time. Coming to the regulatory documents, there are various document required like gate pass, ARE1, a shipping bill or bill of export. Okay, and export application or dock challan, receipt for payment of port charges, vehicle ticket, exchange control declaration form, freight payment certificate. Of course, if you are in the logistic domain, you should be knowing all each one of this and maybe handling all this on a day-to-day basis. But for a supply chain professional, overall knowledge about this document may be required, and possibly you may also get involved in either using this document or preparing this document at some point of a time. Okay, then coming to documents related to goods, mainly when we talk about performa invoice is a starting point for any export contract. This may include name and address of the exporter, importer, nature of goods, mode of transportation, unit price in terms of internationally accepted quotation, name of origin of goods, name of the country for final destination. Like this, you will have a draft template is shown here. Even you can Google up if you are looking for a template. Nowadays, if you are using any software or ERP, this is already available in the system. When you enter all the required documents, you will get a specified format along with your company logo, and if required, it can be pre-signed document is possible. So this is significance wise, it is twofold. It forms the basis for all trade transaction, and further negotiation is based on this. And it helps importer to obtain import license in case if this particular goods is falls under restricted goods in the importer country, then this will serve him as a document to import license. Okay, coming to the next document, we are talking about commercial invoice. Once the order is placed, then item is made ready and you are preparing to dispatch. This is the primary document in all transaction. Okay, it's a seller's bill of merchandise or goods sold by him. So it will also contain similar documents, content, whatever available in performa invoice will also get reflected in commercial invoice. Okay, coming to a template, you will see this will also look similar to performa invoice, but it is a commercial document and it is a legal document and can be used in the court of law in case of any dispute. And also same is used for the taxation purpose or commercial customs duty or duty drawback. For whatever reason you are going to use, this serves as a basic document. Of course, here this will also mention the terms of shipment like incoterms. I hope many of you are aware about incoterms. What is incoterm? Can you type in the comments? What is incoterms? Why it is required in the invoice? What purpose do we use Incoterms in the invoice? Can you type it in the LinkedIn comments? What are Incoterms? Why do you need that for preparing a invoice? Ganesh Ballerao says is required for mode of transport of shipment, not exactly mode of shipment. Anyone else? What is Incoterms? Why it is required in the preparation of invoice, especially when you are using it for import export? Yeah, FOB, yes, it is required to specify the shipping terms. Okay, here you will see who is going to make the freight payment, or who is going to arrange the insurance and other related formalities, and at what point the ownership or the title of goods is getting transferred from one party to other party. All this follows a international standard called Incoterms. Incoterms is nothing but international commerce term. So always this export or import invoice will specify whether the charges are based on X works, FOB, or CAF, or DDP. There are so many terms involved. Possibly you should Google up to see get a detailed extract of Incoterms, and based on that we are going to include those terms also in the invoice. So when you take significance of commercial invoice, it is a frame of say evidence of the contract of sales and purchase of the goods. Invoice constitute main document for various export formalities such as pre-shipment inspection, quality, excise, and customs procedure. It is also used for accounting purpose both by importer and exporter. Finally, it is also required in the bank either for collection or negotiation of the documents through the bank. Okay, for claiming incentives, we have a lot of export incentives. So, primary document is the commercial invoice. Coming to consular invoice, anyone is aware what is this consular invoice? Why it is required? How it is different from regular commercial invoice? You can type in the LinkedIn comment. There are many participants in LinkedIn live today. What is consular invoice? Why it is required? How it is different from a commercial invoice? Is it essential in all the shipments? You can always type in the LinkedIn comments. So, what is the general meaning of consular means? What? Why it is required as a part of export or import trade? It is something which consular means it could be their importing countries consular services present in exporting countries. So maybe the importer doesn't believe the exporter either in terms of country or even the company or the individual. So he wants the exporting organization to take a seal and approval from their country's representative in a exporting country. So it is something that exporter has to pay additional money to this consular people for verification. It is some type of authentication. For an importer, he is guaranteed that the product is genuine and is coming from a reliable party, because their own country's representative is verifying this type of requirement. Okay, so it gives a confidence for the importing organization or the country, especially if they are trying to import from third world countries or developing countries, and they don't believe your systems, and they want some genuineness. This is where consular invoices are required. It is a requirement from importing organization, not from the government. So you need to take the document to their respective consular and take the signature. Possibly I have seen a few countries wants this invoice even from India. Okay, because they don't believe that all the exporters are genuine. In that case, the consular invoice is required. Okay, significance is for the exporter. Once the invoice is signed by the consulate, the exporter is reasonably assured that there is no import restriction in the importer country of goods, and it also enables prompt clearance of the customs from the exporter country. But this is not significant, so when compared to importance to the importer just want to know genuineness and reliability of the exporting party. That's where he tries to get consular invoice. In any case, customs also respect this because this is approved by consular people. So possibly the process may become fast if you have consular invoice. Maybe it is done based on some additional payment. Then coming to the most important thing, packing note and packing list. Is there any difference between packing note and packing list? Can you comment in the LinkedIn? Are they same or both are different? Packing note and packing list. Or do you see both are same? If you know the answer, you can type in the LinkedIn comments. What is the difference between packing note and a packing list? Packing note is something which is written on every packing box, mentioning what are the contents in the respective box, whereas packing list gives the details of all the packing box. Okay, it gives the details of all the packing box. So when you take the packing list, a sample is given here. Specifically, it won't talk about the amount or invoice, but it talks about number of packages, what are the dimension, what are the weight. Such details may be available. Apart from date of packing, number of packing note, number of case to which it relates to, content of case in terms of quantity and weight, marking numbers, name of the exporter, name of the importer, importer's order number, number and date of bill of lading. So it gives an idea, especially when this consignment will help in terms of loading, unloading at the origin and destination, more importantly at transshipment locations. Okay, it should also be returned in the language understood by the country in which it is getting transshipped. So it need not be only in English, it should be in the language understood by the respective countries. Coming to the certificate of origin, why it is required? What is the significance of having certificate of origin both in import export market? Can anyone type in the LinkedIn comments? Why do we need it? What purpose this serves? And where do you get this certificate? Who provides? Is it a government authorities or is it your own organization? Can it prepare the certificate of origin? Can someone type in the comments? Gangadhar says reduction of duty. Okay. It can serve multiple purpose. Possibly, there are some countries which prevents bans some items coming from some countries, especially US says they have declared some of the countries as a country where there are a lot of terrorist activities, so they might have banned possibly. If you take North Korea, they don't want any import or export to happen. But if you are manufacturing any product, you also depend upon import from various countries. So you need to declare that whatever components going into your manufacture is or produced locally from your source, and you are not rerouting from other countries. So this is one type of a check to authenticate the place of origin. The second could be, different countries provide preferential duty for different countries because of various trade pact. In fact, even India has a different trade pact from with the different countries, so we have different duties. Even in the import, you will have a similar differential duty rates. So this is where certificate of origin is required, and these are generally issued by the Chamber of Commerce in the respective countries. Okay, so you can see a sample. Nowadays, even online, you can get this certificate. Okay, so most probably without this certificate, you will not get any import or export. And I wanted to just check one more thing. What is this mate's receipt? Is anyone is aware? Of course, what I am trying to show in this introductory session are few slides from our program. You can visit our site. We have multiple short-term program. One which gives all the detail about the export, import documentation, going in depth analysis, and also the procedures in the export import market. So all these are self-paced program. I have just picked a few of the slides as an introduction here. So what is mate's receipt? Possibly nowadays we also call this as a manifest. Manifest. What does it mean? What is this document? Who is providing this document? You can always type in the LinkedIn comments. What is a manifest? Why it is required? It is an acknowledgement provided either by the ship or aircraft personnel to acknowledge the receipt of items and loading into the vessel. Okay, it is a confirmation that the item has been loaded inside the vessel, whether it is a sea or air. It is a confirmation. It is not all that whenever you are planning to send the item, the finally the confirmation should come from the respective people, whether it's a airline or sea. They have to confirm loading inside the sea, based on which the port authority or the shipping company can issue the bill of lading or airway bill. And it is also important for us as an exporter or importer to know whether this item has been actually loaded in the aircraft or the ship, so that it serves as a proof that the item has been loaded. That's where it is very important to have a manifest both for customer as well as exporter and importer. Okay, there are different types of receipts are available, and possibly many more documents are available. You can always visit our site to know. I tried to give a brief introduction on some of the few documents. Of course, there are tens of document which, as a logistic purpose personnel, you should know. Apart from how to make it and whom to submit, when to submit, is it a pre or post document? Apart from this, you also have a payment transaction channel. There we use something called a letter of credit or exchangeable. So overall knowledge is required so that we can move our consignment in a quickest possible way. Of course, in the process, logistic professional are also responsible for compliance related issues. You are responsible and answerable to government authorities. That's where this position becomes very much important. So any questions, doubts, clarification, you can always type in the comments. Do you like this type of short programs? You are always welcome to visit our site. There are a lot of short term programs available, even in the import, exports, or logistic. If you are preparing for global certification program, there also we have some program. We have both live as well as self-paced program. You can note down this WhatsApp number if you need to approach any of our executives or me. I am also available for any career guidance or advice required. Any questions? Do you like this program? Sashikant Giri, I am coming live on most of the working days. Of course, this live program or recorded. You can always go back to my profile and see it. I am also available in various social media. For example, if you subscribe to our YouTube channel, we have all the previous recording available. I have done so far 50, 60 live session. You can see all the records in the live session. Okay. Thanks for joining. Have a nice evening. If you have any question, you can always type so that I can comment you back on the LinkedIn. Have a nice evening. Bye. Thank you.